changed your world, you overcame, you stayed your course, you made the win.
Hello, everyone. Glad to see you joining me here on this wonderful time of the month. And why is it the wonderful time of the month? Because we're still celebrating Women's History Month. And I'm so thrilled because I've lined up some amazing ladies. It's taken us time to get together because they are busy in their field, but it's such a thrill to get to present them to you because they are women of true grit. That is the theme for today and tomorrow, women of true grit, because they really are. And one of them exemplifies this because she's been part of the True Grit family, Women of True Grit family. And I just love these ladies, different facets of work, different facets that they do, but all for the glory of God. And you're just going to enjoy them as I start bringing them on screen because they are just amazing. I have grown to love them. One I've been talking to from afar, and this is just the second time we've got to do face to face. And so let me tell you who these amazing ladies are. So I've got Marion Maxwell Pyle. She's an award-winning writer, producer, media host, skilled at creating nonfiction and fiction television. And that's just a tip of what she does. Okay, and they're just wonderful. Then we have Amanda Alexander from the UK. Let me just tell you that Marion is from what would I say? Nashville via California and via other cities, but she'll tell you all about that. We have Amanda, who's the CEO of Female Dignity, and she's going to tell you all about that. Then we have Missy Maxwell Wharton. I'm giving everybody their proper names, right? Who's award-winning author, speaker, and life pivot coach. And so when she said that to me, I was just like, we have to ask you about that. So let me start with my dear friend Marion, who I've got to know and work with. Marion, I get to talk to you in your field. I talked to you on other fields, but this is your field, my love. How are you? And tell me, what do you do?
Oh, you're so kind. It's so lovely to be with you and with your other friends, Marina. It's always a pleasure to be on with you. So hello to everyone. You're so kind. I just have to quickly just pivot and just say my middle name is Mackenzie because I'm a Highlander from Scotland. As you'll witness, it's Marion Mackenzie Pyle because Missy Maxwell is with us today, and she's your wonderful author who you'll hear about in just a moment. But a Highlander, my husband and I have a media production company, a wonderful media production company. It's called Highlander Studios after our heritage, right? And so what we do is film and television productions that really elevate the human condition through putting a light on difficult causes and conditions that we really would like to see celebrated and educated about, and edifying people with the truth about certain things. So fiction and nonfiction, fabulous storytelling, leveraging the power of media to really elevate the human condition at a time when we need it more than ever. That's who I am.
Oh, wonderful. And we'll come back to that because Marion, I've learned something new again about you. I knew that you had the British in you, but now I can fully embrace it because we talked on other things. Missy Maxwell, I have got to know you because you put me on the spot last year at the NRB. And so I got to interview you and your host of authors. So tell them, Missy, what do you do professionally?
Well, I'm a writer. I'm an author of across things, television, film, but mostly books. And I became a speaker and not author, but a coach. Just it was a Jehovah sneaky because I released my book and people start coming to me. So now I'm the founder of a group called the Warrior Writers, where I help women write their true stories for kingdom impact and healing. And it's been a rewarding time. But that is mostly what I am doing right now, besides being a mom of four.
Wow. A mom of four and still have energy to do projects. Oh my gosh. And then there's my friend Amanda. Amanda and I started talking by email. I think it's about 5 or 6 years ago, and just followed her in the different things. She transitioned from TV production. And so Amanda, tell them what you do professionally, my friend.
So professionally, I also am a mother of 4 adult children, and I became a grandmother last year, actually. So that's yes, one of my twin boys.
I'm gonna widen my screen. You don't look old enough, but we'll move on.
And so anyway, so I came out of journalism and TV production, and I'm the CEO of Female Dignity. And we are a sustainable company that specializes in the retailing and manufacturing of eco-friendly, natural, feminine hygiene products with the overall aim of retailing them so we can then donate them free to homeless and vulnerable females.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love you all, professional ladies. The elevator pitch is what I call it, and you've done it so brilliantly. But you know, there's been different things that's happened to you in the season of life. Marion, what would you say is one of the things that truly pulled out the true grit in you?
Oh, Marina, it's interesting with social media. We always want to put our best face forward and we want to elevate the positive and so forth. But maybe behind the scenes, we can talk a little bit about the trials in life. And I've had many. I continue to have them, like everyone, like the human condition. But I would say that the human condition is not a level playing field. Some people have had more adversity than others. And I certainly would not begin to say that that's my condition, but I've had a lot of adversity in my life, a lot of loss in my life. It began when I was very young. I lost my mother, I lost my parents. I've lost many people who are near and dear to me in my life. So this is an area that's sensitive. Perhaps the story that I have best resolved, if you will, in a way that I can give back with lessons of wisdom, has been one that happened a few years ago when I nearly lost my husband to cancer. Oh, wow. And that trial, when I thought after this string of losses that I'd already experienced previously in my life, when that one hit, it brought me to my knees. And it required of me to find a way of leaning into God that I had never known. And I can tell you that at the end of it, it taught me about God, the healer, in a way that I'd never known. Because God can be abstract to us. He can be a bit intellectual. We can be theological. People who love theology, and I certainly am all of those, having been a Bible college graduate and all that sort of thing. I love theology. I love studying everything about God, but it can be an intellectual exercise until you have the grit, the blood, the sweat of a trial that will absolutely bring you to your knees, as this one did. And it required me to lean on God and hear from him and follow his instructions and directions in a way that I'd never had to do before, with the depth of which I'd never had, and the fervency and the grit. And the grit really means endurance in the face of adversity that you feel is going to crush you. That's what grit is somehow finding the strength, or having God give you the strength to persevere in the face of something that you think without him, you are going to go under and you probably won't recover. It's how it feels like that. So grit is really finding the strength, the courage, the endurance to keep going. And I don't think you can do it. If you're a child of God, he won't let you go. He won't leave you. And so that strength will come from him. But ultimately, grit, when you come out the other end of a trial, and in this case, my husband fully recovered against all odds and against all predictions, fully recovered from cancer. He's been cancer-free for 11 years now and going strong. But it knocked the wind out of me while we were going through it. But at the end of that, I learned so many things about God that I was able to give it back. And the way I gave it back was God said, write it down. So I wrote a book that has helped hundreds and thousands of people find their way to alternative healings besides conventional medicine. It's called Healed, Healthy, and Whole, How We Beat Cancer. And I'm so proud of the book because it brings light and strength and courage and solutions to people all over the world. So that was one of my main stories of true grit.
You know, I love how you opened up with that, and I love the explanation that you give, the definition you give of grit. I've been reading the book, and so I'll be ready for you all today. And I just know that Marion, like so many things, hit us that come out of nowhere, and really, it's our faith, right, that really gets us through. And so I'm so thankful that I've got to know you this stage, but seeing the strength that you have. Missy Maxwell, same question. And what pulled out true grit out of you, my friend?
You know, I would have to say the season that pulled true grit out of me was when we rescued our 6-year-old adopted daughter from going into child slavery. It was a season where we had to trust God 100%. We went, although they told us not to go, but we trusted the promises of God. And we faced imprisonment, we faced losing everything. Including our freedom, including our daughter, including our biological daughter. We faced it all, and we held on to just the promises of God that He had made in many ways to us. And we held on to those, trusting and not allowing fear to come in and get us distracted on what the enemy was saying, but instead we held on to what God had said would come through for us. And we really had to daily choose faith, choose love over fear. And I think that is really probably what really made me steadfast in believing that our God is faithful to His word, that we can count on Him. And it allowed me to do something that went far beyond what I was capable, what I thought I was capable. God always knew He could do it through us. And that's the thing. He believes in us more than we believe ourselves. And there's these extreme conditions like what we had to rescue our child for over a month and be hiding away in radical Islam as we fought to free her. And that is one of the things that He knew we could handle it. But we had to believe that we were victorious in Him and hold on to, again, going back to holding on to the promises of God that He speaks over us and declares over our lives.
Wow.
You know, just you saying life and death, imprisonment to rescue one child. I mean, the scripture just comes to light, you know, that He leaves the 99 to rescue the one. And so amazed when I heard the story first, interviewing you there last year, but then to bring it to my audience for them to realize that, you know, mothers, and not just mothers, women, the things that we face that there's an old phrase I grew up with: we go where angels fear to tread. Women will go where angels fear to tread. And there's just something in us that I don't know whether it's fear, faith, courage, foolishness, but we'll call it faith for right now. And that causes us to override what we feel and press on in. Amanda, same question, my friend. What pulled that true grit in you?
For me, it was going back to the island of St. Lucia. So I was born in the UK in 1965 to St. Lucian immigrant parents. And when I was 5 years old, my mother, she suffered severe mental health problems that she couldn't look after us following the divorce from my father and sent us to St. Lucia. But whilst I was there, between the ages of 7 and 9, my aunt gave me to be raped systematically for 2 to 7 till 9 years old. And my brothers and I, we were severely beaten and ill-treated. And I made an inner vow never to go back to St. Lucia. So what happened was, a couple of years ago, the Spirit of God spoke to me about going back to St. Lucia to rebuild the island of St. Lucia spiritually, because the walls had broken down. It was like through the Nehemiah rebuilding of the wall. And I did not want to go initially, but all I can say was when I was on that plane and the wheels hit the ground, all I felt was a love and forgiveness for the people of St. Lucia. And I found that the hatred, the hate that I initially had for the island and its people, God somehow did a miraculous work, and He took that heart of anger and pain and He filled it with love. And I was able to go into St. Lucia following my mother's death, minister to the women in the prison on the island. I was given access. I then found that, Isaiah 58:12, God said, Isaiah speech. And He said, my pain would be a place of healing for girls that had been abused. My pain would be a place of restoration for women who were trapped in that situation. And I've been back a few times, and it's been a real struggle, but it's not as much anymore. And I've found that the government have opened the doors to me to minister to the girls at the Upton Gardens Girls Centre. So a place where I vowed that I would never return to has turned to a place, it's turned into a beautiful garden. But it wasn't easy, because for many years I was hateful, I was defensive, and I was angry. But I had to push through that. And I think the true grit for us as women, we have an inbuilt determination. I believe it's from the Lord, that no matter what happens to us, we have that determination and ability to push through the thorns and the thistles, because we can see at the other end we are needed. And if we don't step into that gap, whatever needs to be rescued or resolved will not be resolved unless we press through.
Well, I'm sitting here with amazing ladies, different forms of grit, different levels of faith, different challenges, but the success is they're sitting here in their right mind, still faithfully serving the Lord, still willing. And look at all your faces, and I've got to know you. Still willing to take on challenges. So, Marion, in the thought of that, what challenge are you taking on, my friend? Let me unmute you.
Sure. Well, do you mean right now, Marina? What challenges we're taking?
Yes.
Well,
what challenges are you taking on?
Yeah, you alluded to the fact that I was a California transplant, and that is true. And before that, I've lived in 4 different countries. So California transplant, only the most recent of places that I've been. And with that, with a transplant, what it comes is a complete starting over. So we knew, my husband and I knew 3 people, maybe 4, not very well, professional contacts when we moved to Tennessee. And so the last 3 years have been an opportunity to begin to build community and begin to put down roots, begin to find our tribe, as we like to say in the entertainment industry, people who are working in the same world that we are, media and entertainment. So, which has been lovely. We found Tennessee to be incredibly warm and gracious, and a very easy place to begin to navigate and to make those really strategic connections. It's been lovely. We came with a company whose name we're changing. We're changing, and we're officially launching the Highlander Studios in 2 weeks. Yeah. But we've been in business doing media production together and with other entities for about 20 years. So while this studio, the name is new, it's new because Nashville is new, because Tennessee is new to us, and because it's a new season and the world is in a new place since COVID. And so the needs for certain kinds of content that is really going to shine a light on difficult subjects, that's going to edify people, that's going to bring light to dark places, there's a need for that more than ever. We feel a great calling and mission with it. So we're launching a new business, which is media and television. And we're doing a lot of work with independent authors who have fabulous stories, and we're helping equip them to get them ready for their interview circuit, for their speaking circuit, to launch them out so they can elevate their platform and be marvelous communicators. We're starting a television show for authors called The Literary Lounge, where we'll do in-depth conversations with them. And I'll report more about that when we launch it in 4 weeks. And we're also developing a marvelous film based on a true story that Missy and Amanda will relate to so beautifully also as well. And this one happens to start over in India, but it ends up in the United States. And it is a gripping true story of epic biblical proportions, really a story of like an Esther, just an absolute story that must be told. And we've been wanting to tell it for some time, and the time is right now. So we're just starting to work on the script, and we're thrilled. So launching film, television, and finding our community and building friendships here in Tennessee. So that's a big handful, and it's a 24-hour job.
Oh my gosh. And that's just a small project, my friend. Oh my gosh. That's just amazing. Right. Missy, what's on the horizons for you, my friend? Oh, do I need to unmute you? I'm sorry. I'm talking away to you.
Oh, that is quite all right. The exciting thing is probably my warrior writers just helping these women write their true stories, and just the transformation I'm seeing in them as they are pivoting away from what the enemy tried to define them as, and recognizing in their story where God was, getting healing and releasing these amazing books. So I have that. I'm also writing another book called Writing for Kingdom Impact. Figure that one out. And then in the midst of that, I am writing my screenplay for my book, Don't Mess With This, Mama. And so I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes, and hoping to be working with Marion soon. And I'm saying yes. If God asked me to do it, I'm saying yes. And that's where I'm at right now. But it's been a very fulfilling world, just saying yes to God and seeing others heal and be released in their callings.
Wonderful, wonderful. And the same question to you, Amanda. I've been following you just the past few days, and you just exhausted me just following you. So tell them what's on your horizons. I know so you have to tell them she lives maybe in London, but she's 5 hours drive to one place, 6 hours drive to another place because of what God's put in this season for her to do.
Well, with Female Dignity, what we're doing, so we've launched Female Dignity in the UK, where we're retailing our bamboo and cotton sanitary products, and we've partnered with the local homeless shelter, food banks and that, and we're donating pads free, and tampons free to those different places. But we've also launched Female Dignity in Delaware, LLC, because there's a pharmaceutical company that wants our products out there. So we've got our EIN number, and it's an LLC, and we're looking for a fulfillment service, and I'm looking for American insurers, so we're doing that as well. Looking to launch the factory to manufacture the banana version of our product called Love. I should have brought a box with me to show you, ladies, but we're looking to launch the factory to manufacture the banana version in October this year in St. Lucia, and that will provide employment for rural farmers and rural communities whose lives have been impacted because of the reduced orders from the West for bananas. So St. Lucia will be our first factory, and then we're looking in a couple of years to go across to Barbados, Jamaica, across the Caribbean and Brazil. So I've got a lot of work on my hands right now. And in the meantime, I am still scripts. I don't do as much TV work anymore. But yes, I've got some amazing stories, to tell.
Yes, we'll have to have that conversation. Marion, you summed up the meaning of grit. Tell them that one more time, and then add to that, what would you say is your true grit?
For me personally, what I would call grit, and it's a word it means a lot to me personally, because I've had to overcome many times difficult trials. But so I define true grit as having the endurance, the strength, and the perseverance to push through adversity when you feel like giving up. And when you come out the other end, what that builds in you is a muscle called resilience. And that's a very good thing when you are resilient. And God wants us to be mature and complete, lacking nothing. So even though sometimes these trials come and they feel like they're going to crush us, there's a design to them. If we belong to the Lord, there's a design to them. And he ultimately wants us to succeed and overcome. And if we lean into him and really keep our eyes on him and not look at our feet like Peter did when he was on the water and sunk, while Peter was looking at Jesus, and that's what we have to do, is follow him so closely, because when we're going through confusion, fear, uncertainty, and we don't know our way through this particular trial that we're in, the only way out is to follow the shepherd, because he does. And he has a purpose for it at the end of it. So he'll allow the trial. He'll supply the strength. He'll give us the wisdom. Probably sometimes it feels like for only 1 hour at a time. So it can be terrifying and painful, right? But he will get us through it if we stay close to him ultimately. And the ultimate purpose of it is to make us mature and complete, lacking nothing, but then also be able to turn around from on top of that mountain and lift up others and help others who are struggling through that, some like that or something similar, up that mountain, because you have been comforted with his wisdom and love and security and leadership. And you also can return that wisdom by giving it to others. So ultimately, it's about helping other people. We're blessed to be a blessing. And that's ultimately
Amen.
what getting through things is all about, and having grit, which becomes resilience, which then can turn into wisdom and can turn into something that's really rich for other people, because we're here for other people. We're not just here for ourselves.
Absolutely brilliant. So true. As you're talking, I'm going to use the T as tenacity. I look at women here that I'm surrounded with right now, and you're so tenacious. Whatever obstacle that faces you, you find a way to get through it. Missy, I'm going to ask you the same question. What would you define grit as from your own experience?
Okay, what Marion said is really amazing and wonderful. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I have to add to that? Because that was really good. But in our story, we literally, there was a point where I said, I didn't have time for fear because God had given me permission to be brave. And I believe when you recognize and you know that you know who you are, authentically know who God created you to be, and you recognize that he sent you for such a time as this, that you have purpose, that you have authority, you have his authority, and he was creating you for this time, and you walk in that confidence that God gives you as a daughter of the King, that you can walk in that grit because you don't have time for fear. It's irrelevant to you, because you're walking straight forward. You know what your calling is to do, and your job is to go out there and to be a light, to be an answer. And when the world is in fear, you're showing calmness, you're showing the peace of God, you're showing all the things that they need to hold on to, and it directs them straight to the Father. And that's what I really think when it comes down to grit. It is having a permission to be actually who you authentically are in God. And that's where I would leave it, because we're pretty amazing when we look at where we come from.
Absolutely. I'm smiling ear to ear and agreeing with you. Smiling ear to ear. I'm going to give you the last word, Amanda. Same thing for you. How do you define grit from your experience?
Marion and Missy have really put it together beautifully. I think what I would add is determination. Because when you know who you are, when you know what God has called you to do, when that thing is you're confronted with that mountain, because you know your identity, because you know who's got your back, you have this determination, you have this strength to just push through regardless. So for me, true grit is remaining determined, walking in your identity, and even when you're tired, not giving up.
Ladies, I just love you all. Absolutely love you all. So my putting in what you said together, just summing it up, tenacity. I really love that word, and tenacious. And so I'm giving it a new, from what you've said, I'm adding to it, say permission to be brave. I really love that. To be your authentic self, and then the determination to push through regardless. And I know there's lots of ladies around us in our tribe, but you represent what it is that make Women History Month so tangible and so visible, because our past did not restrict us. To be honest, it furthered us. It positioned us, developed characters. Marion said it so nicely, wisdom at this stage, moving from one place to another, wisdom. And so I know that there's many that's coming on, and they're just absolutely loving this. You'll read the comments afterwards. But I'm just so grateful to be able to celebrate. I love celebrating women. I do this at the end of the year with my Celebrate You, but I wanted to do something different for March, and I've got to do that with friends. And so I'm sharing my friends with you, and I'm not one that my close friends know I'm not one for sharing friends. I keep my friends to myself, but I'm learning to share because Marion, little wisdom is coming. Just a little wisdom is coming, and the ability to share. And this is what community, I hope that we will help you see that we need community. We need each other. And I'm just so grateful for what God is doing through these ladies, for these ladies, and how they are inspiring others. It's not about self. The women that I love introducing you to is not about themselves. It's what they do for others and how God has enabled them to do that for others. So my dear friend Marion, as I've got to know you the most, and I love picking on you, I let you do the closing remark. Thank you.
You know, I love that we have Women's History Month because sometimes women can be the unsung hero. We can be quieter. We can be behind the scenes sometimes. And we keep the glue together. And sometimes we do it without making a lot of noise. We just keep the glue together. And so I want to celebrate women. I just would love to just lift a prayer to God and thank you for making women. Thank you for making us how we are. Thank you for making us creatures who love and love deeply and love fiercely and know what it is to wrap our arms around a family, wrap our arms around a cause, wrap our arms around a need and not give up until we see it fulfilled according to God's purposes, because that's how he made us. And so I would just like to give a shout out and a thank you to God for making us who we are. I thank you for all the women friends I know. I thank you for the privilege, Marina, being on with you and with these other extraordinary women who are doing beautiful, things for God and the world. And ultimately just a joy, the pleasure of serving the Lord, even when it gets tough and the trials never stop. We know that, but he will never fail. And so we celebrate History Month. We celebrate walking with God and the history we each have with him. And we celebrate our voices and our stories that we can use to help others up the mountain when the times get tough. And we do it all in the name and the privilege of serving Jesus.
Amen.
And with that, I say a resounding amen. Amen. Thank you, my dear friends. Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Missy. Thank you, Amanda. And ladies, let's just keep celebrating each other as you'll come back and you watch this. Somebody needs to hear this. So click share. Somebody needs to know that they are not alone in their struggle. Some part of our testimonies today touched you in many ways, in real ways. And tenacity. And the authenticity that is present here. We give God the glory. Thank you all. Have a great week. And I will see you all, my guests, tomorrow, my people. I will see you tomorrow as I do this again with another group of ladies. God bless you and have a great day. We're going to wave bye.